Okay, let's just dive right into this. You know, if you're over 40, your body has already started doing something very quietly, right behind your back. Every single day, your cells are aging just a little bit faster than they did back in your 30s. Your muscle mass is dropping, hormones are shifting, and get this, your metabolism is actually slowed down by about 3% per decade. I know, it sounds a bit grim, right? But listen, whether you're tuning into this explainer from over in Europe, right here in the USA, or literally anywhere else in the world, our whole goal today is to show you that feeling tired, stiff, and slow, it's absolutely not just a mandatory part of getting older. So I want to start by posing a really provocative question. What if aging can be reversed in just 60 minutes? Seriously, there's this growing body of absolutely incredible research coming out of places like Harvard, Stanford, and the NIH, and it all points to one thing. The very first hour of your day holds immense power. It literally has more power to reverse biological aging at a cellular level than almost anything else you do all day. And no, we are not talking about spending grueling hours in the gym or buying crazy expensive supplements or forcing yourself into one of those freezing cold plunges. We're talking about exactly 5 habits. That's the whole shebang. Over the course of this explainer, we're going to walk through a completely free 30-minute routine made up of just 5 specific morning habits. They are super simple, they don't cost a dime, and they are rigorously backed by science to rev up your metabolism, boost your mood, and even fix your sleep. Stick with me here because we're building up to a really crucial protein rule. That's habit number 4, that almost everybody over 40 is getting completely wrong. All right, let's start right at the very beginning of your day. Habit number 1, morning sunlight. Okay, so within 30 minutes of opening your eyes, you need to get about 10 minutes of direct outdoor sunlight right on your face. No sunglasses, no sitting behind a cozy glass window. You need real outdoor light. And here's exactly why this is completely non-negotiable once you hit 40. As we get older, this tiny part of our brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus actually becomes less sensitive. It's essentially your body's internal clock. Because it loses that sensitivity, your brain has a much harder time figuring out if it's morning or if it's night. That is exactly why folks over 40 suddenly find themselves wide awake staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. or just totally crashing by 2 p.m. But morning sunlight, it fixes this almost instantly. Landmark research from Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman shows that 10 minutes of morning light triggers a healthy cortisol pulse that wakes you right up. And, brilliantly, that exact same pulse sets a 14-hour timer in your brain to release melatonin, so you can actually fall asleep that night. Now, you might be thinking, but what if the weather is awful? The crucial point here is that you absolutely must do this anyway. Even on a totally cloudy, gray, miserable day, the light outside is still at least 10 times brighter than the absolute brightest light bulb sitting in your house. Your eyes desperately need that intensity to set the clock. So your actionable takeaway for tomorrow morning? Before you even think about grabbing your phone, just step outside for 10 minutes, drink your coffee on the porch, walk the dog, or literally just stand there. That's it. Moving right along, habit number 2, hydrate before caffeine. Now, this one might sound ridiculously easy, but the biological impact is massive. You need to drink 16 ounces of water, so about 2 standard glasses, before you have a single drop of coffee. Why? Because while you're asleep, you actually lose about a whole pound of water just through breathing and sweating. You wake up and you're already dehydrated, and after 40, this dehydration hits you way harder. Think about it this way. A body in its 20s is about 60% water, but by the time we hit our 60s, that drops closer to 50%. Less water means your blood is literally thicker, your circulation slows down, and your brain actually shrinks a little bit from dehydration. Hello, brain fog and headaches. If you reach for that coffee first thing, you're just making a bad situation worse, because caffeine is a mild diuretic. It pulls even more water out of your system. You're basically digging a deeper hole right out of the gate. So, here are the super simple fixes for this. Keep a glass of water right there on your nightstand. Drink it before your feet even hit the floor. And here's a little pro tip. Add a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon to it. That tiny bit of sodium actually helps your cells absorb the water instead of it just running straight through you. After that, just hold off for 20 to 30 minutes before you have your coffee. I promise you, within days, you're going to notice way less of that afternoon fatigue. And give it a few weeks, you'll even see better skin elasticity. All right, let's step up the biological stakes a bit. Habit number 3, 5 minutes of resistance. Now, don't let this one scare you, okay? This habit actually has the absolute biggest payoff. We're talking about just 5 minutes of resistance training every morning. Not a cardio session, not stretching. We need resistance. Because once you cross 40, you're losing muscle at a rate of about 1% every single year. It's a biological process called sarcopenia, which is just the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. And here's the kicker. It is one of the biggest predictors of how well and how long you are going to live. See, muscle isn't just about looking fit on vacation. Muscle is quite literally the organ of longevity. It regulates your blood sugar, it protects your bones, and it's the furnace that keeps your metabolism running hot. If you're still on the fence, just look at this number, 15%. A massive 2022 study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that doing daily resistance training for under 10 minutes reduced all-cause mortality by 15%, and it dropped cardiovascular disease risk by 17%. 15% fewer deaths? Honestly, that is an unbelievable return on investment for your health. And the best part, all it takes is 5 minutes. You don't need a gym membership, you don't even need weights. 5 minutes of simple bodyweight exercises is enough to send a loud, clear biological signal to your body saying, hey, keep this muscle, we still need it. We're talking about 10 wall push-ups, 10 slow bodyweight squats, 10 standing rows just pulling on a towel, and a quick 30-second plank. Just 5 minutes, 5 days a week, it is genuinely that accessible. Okay, we've arrived at the big one, the climax of this explainer. Habit number 4, the crucial protein window. Listen up, because this is the habit almost everyone over 40 gets completely wrong. You need to eat at least 30 grams of protein within 1 hour of waking up. Most people grab a piece of toast, maybe a muffin, or a little cup of yogurt. That might give you 10 grams on a really good day. But after 40, that is simply not enough. Your body develops this thing called anabolic resistance. In plain English, that just means your aging muscles stop responding to small, frequent amounts of protein. If you skip a high-protein breakfast, your body does something absolutely brutal. It literally starts cannibalizing your own muscle tissue just to get the amino acids it needs to function for the day. You are essentially eating your own muscles before lunch. Back in your 20s, 10 little grams of protein was totally enough to trigger muscle building. You could eat a bowl of cereal and be completely fine. But by the time you're 50, you need closer to 30 grams in a single sitting just to flip that exact same metabolic switch. A piece of toast just isn't going to cut it anymore. When you multiply a low-protein breakfast by every single morning for a decade, well, that's exactly how people quietly lose 20 pounds of muscle without even realizing it. But fixing this is totally straightforward. We just want to hit that 30 grams without overthinking it. Check out these highly actionable swaps. 3 whole eggs plus a cup of Greek yogurt, boom, 32 grams. A cup of cottage cheese with some berries and 1 egg, 35 grams. Or if you're in a rush, just make a high-quality protein shake with a scoop of nut butter. Pick just one of these right now and make it your default breakfast tomorrow. I'm telling you, hitting this protein window will have a massive, compounding effect on how you age over the next 10 years. And finally, that brings us to habit number 5, the 2-minute mental reset. This is such a calming, entirely free habit. Before you touch a single screen, before you check a single email or look at the news, just spend 2 minutes doing some quiet breathing or gratitude journaling. Because the sheer destructive power of stress on our aging process is terrifying. A 2021 study out of UCLA made this stunning discovery. They found that chronic stress can actually age a person's biological markers, specifically these things called epigenetic markers, by up to 6 years. 6 years older, biologically, purely from being stressed out. And what is the very first thing most of us do the exact second we open our eyes? Yep, we reach for our phones. Your phone is essentially a little stress spike device sitting on your nightstand. Immediate exposure to all those emails, demands, and crazy news headlines completely spikes your cortisol levels, and they stay elevated for hours, totally wrecking your blood sugar and your focus. But if you just take 2 minutes for quiet breathing or just writing down one thing you're grateful for, it drastically lowers that cortisol and improves your heart rate variability. You don't need a fancy app, you don't need a wellness guru, just 2 minutes of peace before you look at a screen. All right, let's wrap this up, your 30-minute morning routine. Let's bring all of this together into one unified, incredibly powerful 30-minute routine designed specifically for bodies and brains over 40. Here's your exact sequence. Step 1, 10 minutes of morning sunlight to set your internal clock. Step 2, 16 ounces of water before any caffeine to rehydrate your brain. Step 3, 5 minutes of bodyweight resistance to signal your muscles to stick around. Step 4, 30 grams of protein within an hour of waking to stop muscle cannibalization. And step 5, 2 minutes of gratitude or quiet breathing to put the brakes on stress aging. It fits so seamlessly into your morning. 30 minutes, $0, and entirely backed by real, published science. But hey, I want to leave you with this one final thought. Please, whatever you do, do not try to do all 5 of these tomorrow morning. That is exactly how we get overwhelmed and give up. Pick one, literally just one. Do it for 7 days straight, and then add the next one. In 6 weeks, you're going to have effortlessly built a routine that research suggests can literally add years of healthy, vibrant life to your future. So, what do you say? Which one of these habits are you going to start tomorrow morning to start reclaiming your biological youth?